So it should be something that is delivered through an online platform. Now, yung computer-based test kasi it may not necessarily be online. So pwedeng computer-based siya, naka-package application or CD-ROM based, no? Pero hindi siya necessarily online. So ito ang highlight talaga online. So it is accessible siguro through mobile phones or computer, tablets, or multiple devices, pwede dapat. Ganun siya. Saan siya madalas ginagamit? Well, e-learning yung madalas na example or application ng online assessment. So, MOOCs, Massive Open Online Classes, remote learning setup or distance learning setup, useful yung mga online assessment, no? Kasi a lot of the activities are being done asynchronously or sa pace ng student, no? Self-paced yung student. So you need the technology to do that. So madalas madalas yung option na technology is to use an online platform. So nagiging online learning siya or online assessment. So yung in terms of online assessment, no, I think naiba lang no online versus pen and papers yung mode of delivery. So in terms of advantage and disadvantages, I think yung advantage ng face-to-face sa online is mas madali i-maintain yung security ng exam. Kasi you're there, you're monitoring the students live. So it's easy to validate and authenticate yung result ng exam na siya talaga yung sumagot, etc. No, the advantage of using an online platform for assessment is that it can extend your manpower, you know, what you can do as a person. Kasi yung technology is supposed to support you so that the conduct of the exam is more efficient. And during this time period rin, no, diba, we cannot do face-to-face sessions safely or face-to-face exam safely. So one of the better options is to conduct it online para makapag-online assessment ka pa rin even if you're not meeting your students. In some way, online assessment is somehow more flexible in terms of time and location. No, kasi you're not restricted to, you know, you have to meet your students face-to-face para lang makapag-conduct ng exam. Disadvantage of online assessment tools, I do think na posibleng maging mas mahal yung online delivery of assessment. But if you think it as a long-term investment, pwedeng mas makamura ka. So depende yun sa maging objective ng isang institution. If we're going to talk about it in our context today, pandemic situation, we cannot do those professional licensure exam face-to-face or hindi parang safe, etc. And ang kino-consider is to do this online. You have to consider yung parang yung issue ng mga tao regarding online assessment, like how do you authenticate or secure na hindi mag-cheat yung mga estudyante if you're not seeing them. At the same time, the institution has to ensure that the process will be accessible to the target audience. No, so we all know that not everyone has access to computers, no? So if the goal is for us to perform a standardized exam, so sa online setting talaga, you cannot fully standardize the experience of the exam. If they're going to take it in their houses, in their respective places, no, you cannot expect them to have the same conditions. But it allows you to conduct the exam with as much rigor as possible, kumbaga, no? Kasi if the technology is present and the correct features are there, mahihirapan naman or masasecure mo naman yung quality, kumbaga, ng outcome. But yung magiging main challenge is, will it be accessible dun sa supposedly kukuha ng test? Because kung ginagawa yung test ng institution to, let's say, admit students, kunyari lang sa case ng University of the Philippines, UPCAT, we have this philosophy that it has to be accessible to everyone. Hindi dapat discriminating si UPCAT. So if the online technology allows us to perform UPCAT pero hindi lahat makapag-take ng exam, hindi ako kukuha ng online technology kasi it defeats our philosophy. So if there's that kind of objective, you have to really ensure na holistic your approach ng institution. So if you're going to take this technology, and may gaps yung technology in terms of accessibility from the student, there should be a solution dun sa accessibility side, which is not really a problem of yung service provider. No, it's more of a problem nung institution na kuha nung service. Pero kung importante ba yun, kailangan ba yung gawin? Well, definitely depende sa context. No, if it's for licensing new doctors, new professionals, we definitely need parang to update or always need licensed professionals. No, hindi tayo mag-license ng professional kasi gusto natin face-to-face. Kailangan natin gawa ng paraan within the current situation. Otherwise, mauubusan tayo ng licensed professionals. Or ganun din sa context kunyari ng hiring ng mga bagong tao sa isang company. No? So if you really need people, you cannot wait for the situation to fix itself. No, you have to work within the current situation. Or security yung quality or security nung result is to use safe exam browsers if that's applicable. So typical safe exam browsers, sila yung shield against taking screenshots of the question, copy pasting the question in another application, etc. So it's generally ensures that the student cannot use other applications while taking the exam. But it's not completely it's not foolproof, kasi if you have another device, you can always take a photo of your computer. So yun, you can still take screenshots kumbaga nung questions. But if you complement that with an online and e-proctoring tool, mas magiging mahirap na. Okay, that's for the quiz type. Kung hindi siya quiz type, something that you submit, let's say it's a production type assessment, essay, kunyari ganun, you need to have an anti-plagiarism tool. So marami rin naman ganyong klaseng platform that will detect whether or not the submitted document is simply copy-pasted from another web page. So yan, yung mga tools for securing student submissions na work talaga nila yun. Regardless if it's on the teacher perspective or institutional, it should have yung basic security features. If it's in an online quiz format, so depende kasi sa format ng assessment yan. So if it's a type of assessment where the student submits something, syempre iba yung features dapat na required. So let's start with yung parang online quiz format. So if it's like an online quiz format, yung multiple choice, objective type of questions, it's not like a production type of assessment tool. Unang-una, yung security features should make cheating very, very difficult. Ganun yung sinasabi ko, I do not say that it is cheat-proof because a student who really wants to cheat will find a way or will cheat during an exam, whether it's online or face-to-face. And realistically speaking, in terms of securing parang cheating or detecting cheating, hindi talaga mapapantayan ng online technology yung face-to-face na pagbabantay ng test. But you can get close to it if you get the right set of features. You can closely approximate that experience by making cheating very difficult. So what are the usual strategies ng mga technology? So una, there should be a standard tool for authenticating and validating identity. That's the first one. So it should be secured. No one else should be able to access the platform but the students or the target audience. So dapat may system for that. That's the first. If it's a really high-stake exam, you may need online or e-proctoring technology. So ang online e-proctoring technology, meron siyang capturing technology, meaning it can capture faces. It records a video of the student while taking the exam, etc. So it simulates the part where you monitor a student in a synchronous setup. So dapat may ganun din, online or e-proctoring. That's a big bonus. Ang issue lang dito is online and e-proctoring would require something from the student side, like they need to have cameras or webcams in their laptops. So out of the question na kunyari yung taking the exam via phone because this technology eats up a lot of parang battery usage, so mahirapan sila kung mobile phone lang yung meron sila. So matipong ganon. Although there are other parang lightweight e-proctoring technology na instead of taking a video, they take snapshots, photos, and instead of storing the photos themselves, instead of storing all of the photos, they only store photos na may na-detect sila na ibang face bukod dun sa face ng estudyante. So para matipid kumbaga yung memory consumption or yung bandwidth na ginagamit, instead of storing 1 hour worth of video, it has, let's say, an AI that detects another face or another voice in the background, and it will only capture that, no? I mean, if the rules were stated at the start, I think there's no issue with it because it should be clear that that can happen, no, that they're being basta klaro na there's no data privacy breach, no, klaro na there's a consent that they are being monitored, certain information is being collected while they are taking the exam, and those information are being used to detect cheating. If certain parameters were reached, no, we will conclude that you are cheating and we will not allow you to continue with the exam. So if that's clear from the start of the exam, I think walang problema, no, there's no ethical concern kasi dapat alam nila yung pinasok nila dun sa exam. Especially if it's a well-conducted exam, dapat hindi nila nalalaman yun sa day of exam lang. Nalalaman nila yun days ahead of the exam. No, ako, based on the experience, no, they should know the mechanics of what will happen, no, the mechanics of the online test at least a week before the exam. And dapat may parang practice session yon para walang sisihan na everything was tested and nagkaroon kayo ng trial session before conducting the main exam itself. In a face-to-face setup, we usually deliver different sets of the same test. Kunwari, set A may onting changes compared to set B, set C, but the tests are essentially equivalent. But appearance-wise, they're not necessarily exactly the same. Parang may onti kang babaguhin para hindi siya madaling makopya or malik ng estudyante. So that the same feature should also be present in an online platform because it's very usual sa mga online platforms. So kung walang ganung feature sa platform na ino-offer na isang online assessment, medyo titingin na ako na iba because for me that's very basic. No? So example nun, na-randomize yung order ng questions or na-randomize yung changes doon sa configuration ng question. So for example, if it's a multiple choice question, yung arrangement ng choices na A, B, C, D, nag-iiba-iba per student, kunyari. But it's essentially the same question, no? Pero not exactly the same experience. Pero the tests are essentially equivalent. No? So para lang mahirap mag-cheat kumbaga. So kung nagsa-store man siya somewhere, kunyari lang sa lap niya or may isang super genius kayong test taker that could store in his head all of the answers, no, kahit tandaan niya yung letters na yon, no, it's not necessarily the same letters for other students. So mati pong ganon. Yun, so you need to have those question controls feature, and at the same time dapat yung service provider is aware that controlling the order of the questions or changing the question could change the quality of the test. So dapat yung people involved doon, yung mga service providers themselves could provide assistance or can ensure na even if we apply this feature, hindi magsisignificant, the test quality will not significantly vary or it will not affect yung difficulty ng test. No? Kunyari lang, inuna mo yung question 1 sa question 10 because yun nga, pampalito for cheating purposes, ayaw mo maka-apekto yun doon sa difficulty ng exam. What if pala sobrang hirap ng question 10 na yung mga naunang sumagot ng question 10, they tend to have lower score. So you don't want that to happen, but you want to apply that to prevent cheating. So kailangan mabalanse yun. And the way to balance that is that the people behind the service should know the science behind, no, yung test making. Yun. So it should be a balance of technology and human expertise palagi. Kasi kung ako pipili ng service provider, gusto ko yung may alam din sa technology at the same time alam yung science behind it, no? And not just developers, because yung based on experience, no, yung usually mga developers, they're not really connected dun sa experience ng teachers, experience ng mga nasa field, mga nagko-conduct ng test, and usually that's important kapag nagta-translate ka from a face-to-face setup to an online setup. So dapat yung platform itself should have a time limit feature because that's also a standard feature. dapat kaya niyang i-secure na if the time limit is done, hindi na makakasagot or wala nang mababago pa yung estudyante. In terms of time taking the exam, no, will the technology affect? Technically dapat hindi, no, because if the questions are the same, no, yung pag-click at pag-shade, siguro it takes just the same time, pati yung pagbasa at hindi pagbasa. If there's something to consider, no, and that will change yung time allotment for the exam because of the technology, it's the internet connection. Now, if the question contains images, videos, sound that may take time to load, then you have to consider that in the test implementation. Okay. So I think yung maging message ko to my fellow educators is that I think the pandemic situation enlightened us the importance of being technologically skilled as a teacher. No, I know na maraming experienced teacher na are not willing to let go of their usual ways because they know that it is still effective. And I do think what happened remotely, no, we see the value of technology when it comes to education. Importante siya, hindi siya dapat na it should be part of our skills already as teachers, no, na even if we're primary face-to-face teachers, even if we primarily do assessments face-to-face, it is important to have the skill to implement or use education technologies. Because for me, the ideal solution would still be a blended solution, blended learning, blended solution in the sense na you know that the face-to-face strategies work, but you can't deny the fact that the technology side or the online learning side also has advantages that you can incorporate, no, in a usual classroom setting. So I think even if mag-normalize na yung situation, we should never let go of the learnings we have in this pandemic situation. Dapat mas maging ready pa nga tayo. So dapat we should continue to develop ourselves to be tech ready. We should start incorporating technology in our learning strategies, whether it's in the delivery of the content or assessment.